Hi everyone, this is Claudia here at McAllen Public Library, and welcome everyone to Small Business Development Post-COVID Opportunities. Today's guest is Maria Juarez from the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Small Business Development Center, Albert Capistran from the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Small Business Development Center, and Susana Canizal from H&R Block. Welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start out with Susana, if I may, from H&R Block.
Oh, hello, good afternoon. My name is Susana. I have been doing taxes for over 10 years. And this is a new experience for me. This is the first time that I do something like this. So bear with me because this is a new experience. I really wanted to talk about small business because first of all, we need to define what it is. Small business is anything from the ladies selling Mary Kay from their living room to any business that makes, I don't know, like $250,000 a year. So it's a very, very broad explanation. There's many things that can be a small business. So before you start a small business or before you think about small business, you need to think how this is going to pan out for you, what it is that you want to do with it. And there are different ways that you can be a small business. First would be a sole proprietor. What would that mean? That would mean that you would, in your 1040, your regular tax return that you do every year, you are going to add a schedule, that's a Schedule C, and it's going to be part of your regular tax return. There's other ways of doing this. You can do a partnership. You get together with a friend or with some co-investors, and you become partners in this endeavor. Then you can even go up a little bit and do a corporation. There's two types of corporations, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And it's going to depend on what it is that you want to do and how you envision your future. A sole proprietor is something, as I say, is part of your tax return, not very many complications. If you do a partnership, you're going to put together the assets and the knowledge of two or more people, and then you're going to grow this business. What's going to happen is that this partnership is not going to pay its own taxes. What's going to happen is that they're going to trickle down into the partners, and the partners are going to pay their own taxes on this partnership. Now, if you go into a corporation, that's going to be a little bit much more involved because the corporation, the C corporation, because there's two types of corporations, the C and the S. The C corporation is going to pay its own taxes, and it's going to maybe possibly tax twice the same money because the corporation is going to pay its own taxes, and it's going to distribute to the shareholders. It's going to distribute that income to these shareholders as dividends. And what's going to happen? The shareholders are going to have to pay their taxes on those dividends. So it may create some kind of a double taxation. Now, if you want to avoid that, you can go into the C Corp, the S Corp, I'm sorry. S Corps are a little bit like partnerships because they trickle down to the shareholders, and the S Corp does not pay its own taxes. So you have to kind of visualize into the future. If you're going to start small and the self-proprietorship is perfectly fine, if you want to do something bigger, then you need to look into the future and see how you want to handle this. Many people do something that's called an LLC. All these things that I mentioned about the sole proprietor, the corporation, the partnership are on the federal level. An LLC is a state level thing. It depends on the state you're in, and it has different requirements in different states. So when you open an LLC can be a sole proprietor, it can be a corporation, it can even be a one-person corporation. An LLC is just a state definition. It is not for the federal tax return. Okay, so now you have your sole proprietorship. You're selling Mary Kay or tamales or whatever it is that you're selling, and you're making money out of it. What are you going to do with it? You have to report it somewhere. If you start as a sole proprietor, what you're going to do is that you're going to add everything that you earned, everything that you made, and you're going to write it down there. And then you're going to start looking at your expenses. One of the things that many people ask me, what can I put in there? Well, you can put almost everything that's ordinary and necessary for that tax preparation, for that business to operate. For example, if you're making tamales and if you're going to deduct the corn husks, that's going to be perfectly appropriate. But if you're going to be wanting to buy, what could I say? A lawnmower, well, that is not going to be something that you can deduct in that kind of business. So you need to be very clear on what it is that you're doing, what it is that you want to do, and what is that is going to be considered an ordinary and necessary expense for that business. One thing that I can see very often is that people pick and choose what it is that they want or they don't want to report as an expense, so that it gives them the maximum return of, if you may call it that way. That's not the way the law works. The law says that everything that you had in there, everything that you expended should be there. And everything that you collected should be there. And that's something that sometimes people don't understand, because they don't understand that whatever it is that they make on that self-employment endeavor is going to go into their Social Security benefits in the future. I have seen so many people who do not want to pay taxes, and then when it comes to the time to get their Social Security benefits, they find that there's nothing there. And at that point, there's nothing to be done. So don't minimize, don't believe that getting a bigger refund is going to become a better outcome for you in the future.
If I may, Ms. Susana, the other thing also, since you're talking about long-term benefits, I know we've seen that as well, right? So it's hard to say, well, I'm going to save for later, or it's going to affect me this way because I need to get the greatest income right now. But the other thing also that we share with entrepreneurs or business owners is that if you're in business, you may be thinking of maybe growing later on. And so one of the things that you may need in the future as you grow your business is to borrow or to seek investors. And that's one of the reasons we recommend, do your financial statements, do them as accurately as you can, report it, because you're building that history for that business that can only help you. So later on, when you go to a bank, you can show them, and yes, you may have started your business from home, but it's a business. And if you're keeping those records, you can show that longevity, which can only help you in terms of your credit and being able to borrow so that you can grow your business, because it's the same thing as with the taxes, right? Yes. And if you go borrow and you haven't been reporting, it's the same as it's barely starting your business. And we all know that it's more difficult for a startup than for an existing business in general to borrow, right? So it's just that longevity. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Thank you.
And I do appreciate it, because you're right. You're right. If you start selling Mary Kay from your living room, but you're going to be growing, because that's the idea. If you're starting a business, it's because you want it to grow and you want to become successful. If you do not keep accurate records, if you do not do the things the right way, if you don't visualize your future the right way, well, you're going to find yourself in trouble. And that business is not going to grow because it's going to kind of implode in itself. That's the way I have seen it with my clients. Then let me repeat something that I said before we started. Many of my clients have been referred to your center because I know that you're going to give them the best advice possible. our levels of dealing with this are a little bit different. And that's why I very, very confidently refer people to your center.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
And as you were saying, keeping accurate records is paramount. Keeping accurate records is one of the most important things that you can do for many reasons. And one of them is, as you said, I mean, we're looking to the future. We're going to have to get a loan. We're going to have to get maybe a partner. If there's no accurate records, you will not be able to grow. Okay. There was something else I wanted to talk about, and at this point. So we do have, one of the things that I basically do not do very often is employment taxes. That's a little bit out of my scope, but I think that it is very, very important for somebody who has a small business and is going to hire somebody to make sure that this person who they are hiring is being hired the right way. We have seen, I mean, this is something that I see every single day. Somebody who works as an employee and is being paid as an independent contractor. That is something that needs to be clarified, because even for the business owner, it's not the same situation to have somebody that is working as an employee to be paid as an independent contractor. And at one point, somebody told me, it's easier. I don't have to do the FICA and the FUTA and this and that. So I just pay them like that. And I think that this is something that really, really needs to be looked at very carefully. And I don't know if there's anywhere else that you want, that some question that you may have or something.
If I may ask, Ms. Susana, this would be an area also I think that you can speak to in your realm. And speaking of establishing that history and that credibility, et cetera, can you, and you may have encountered this in working through the documentation, can you speak to the importance of individuals that are starting off a business and keeping their funds, their money coming in for their business separate from that of personal?
That should have been something that I should have marked on, and I didn't check it. Yes, that is very, very, very important. There's no way that let's go into the worst case scenario. The IRS is auditing you, and you're trying to pull out all your records. You're trying to reconstruct whatever it is that you didn't do contemporaneously. How are you going to be able to separate one thing from the other if you have in the same checkbook the check that you did for H&B when you bought your milk and the check that you did to pay for the things that you're selling? That is something that I talk to many of my clients, because they feel that because it's a small business, they don't need to separate these accounts. In the unpleasant situation of an audit, having this separation of funds, a separation of income and expenses, and having good records is the difference between a really, really bad experience with the IRS and something that it can be just a situation of mismanagement, or, well, I just didn't count this, and they can just fly through an audit without any bad experiences. So yes, I think it's very, very important for all my clients who are starting a business. I usually ask them, hey, open a different checking account, get one of those business credit cards, and everything that you do with this business, go through with it and keep all your records. And if you misplace the receipt, well, you have the proof that was for the business because you used your business account. Though I have had people who have the business account and then go to Disneyland with it, but that's a completely different thing. That's a completely different thing. It's very, very important. Anything?
I had a similar situation, I remember talking to a tax preparer and asking that question: what is it that you need when starting a business? What do I need to bring to you at the end of the year when it comes to doing my taxes? And she said simply, she said, I need all your expenses and all your income.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah.
so it's, I mean, to put it as simple as that, it almost sounds like, okay, yes, it makes sense that you need your own business account, you need it registered and separate, so that way you have everything organized. And when it comes time to do your taxes at the end of the year, you have all your expenses and you have all your income, and it's there.
Yeah, and having a separate account makes that a lot easier. A lot easier. You don't have to go hunting for the receipt of that ink cartridge that you bought in February. So that really, really makes a difference. Really makes a difference. I don't know if there's anything else that you would want me to touch on.
Thank you, Susana, for the information that you reviewed. If I may, we can get Maria and Albert to present from the Small Business Development Center at UTRGV.
Absolutely. So you said, Claudia, that you can share the PowerPoint.
Let me go ahead and share that right now
awesome.
on the screen. Okay.
Perfect. Excellent. So we'll just move through this. So thank you all for joining us. My name is, as mentioned, Maria Juarez. I work at the Small Business Development Center at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. So I appreciate the invitation. I just want to share with everyone, if you're not familiar, what the program's about and how we can help you as you begin to, as you have a business, have questions, or are exploring maybe starting a business now or in the future. And so that's why I titled it Providing Small Business Support and Fostering Economic Impact in the RGV. Our program has been in existence for 33 years, where the program itself has existed across the U.S. and the territories for probably going on 40 years. We were very fortunate to get one here in the Valley and to be hosted, of course, by then UTPA and now UTRGV, and continue to have a successful career and join forces with local partners that together we can help individuals in the Rio Grande Valley who have a business or who are seeking to start a business and help them through different issues that they may encounter. Can we go on to the next slide? So I'm just going to briefly run through the first slides, just information, and then Albert is going to share on a specific program that I'd like to promote more, so we can get that get that support to you should you need it. And so in the next information, just giving really quick. So in our next slide, I'm covering the overview of the SBDC. So a few things to know about the SBDC. I mentioned we're hosted by UTRGV. We're very fortunate. We are funded through our local, which is our university, through the state of Texas, as well as through the Small Business Administration at the federal level. And that is, so we bring those funds together to be able to bring the service to you locally at almost no cost. And I say almost no cost because there's sometimes a very small cost, and that is for training. But all the advising that I'll be talking to you about, and what Albert will be talking to you about, all of that comes to you at no cost, because actually you've already paid for it through your taxes. That's how we get funded, and we're able to help you with this. We're also part of a network that is based. So our regional network is based out of UTSA in San Antonio, and so we have all these centers that cover the area. But broader than that, as I mentioned, there is any county really that you go across the U.S. or any of the territories, you can find an SBDC near you. So there's a little bit over 900 SBDCs, and so we're able to help a lot of people. And for us, it's an honor to serve our small business community here in the 4 counties of the Rio Grande Valley. So as we go to, and it just, there's other information in there. So the mission of the SBDC, the full name is the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Small Business Development Center. And so the mission is pretty straightforward. It's to promote growth, expansion, innovation, increase productivity, and improve management skills for small businesses in the Rio Grande Valley. And that is at any stage of development. So if you're considering at some point starting a business, you can start now, and you can be getting information and working through it. If you just recently started, And yes, we do have some people that have started through the pandemic and are doing very well. They took the time, they planned, and they opened it even in such circumstances, and they've been able to move forward very well. Or you can be in business 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, but you're seeking to grow, or you have a challenge, or you have a question. Those are the types. So we can help. That's why we say we can help businesses at any stage of development. You can come to us once for information. You can come to us 10 times. As long as you have a project and you seek our help, we are there to help you. The next slide. And so this is just a quick snapshot. And this is actually just, we share this because we capture this data, and we capture this data to show to the state of Texas the impact that our program is having. And so in the red there, you see our local figures, and this is a credit to our small businesses. We're able to help. So we have, currently we have 6 advisors, additional staff in the program. And so we're able to help over 600 people a year in one-to-one consultations. And this again could be people that come to us once, or people that can come to us 20 times, 30 times throughout the year. And we continue to support them in whatever it is that they're doing in their business, what we call the business project. We have numerous workshops. I think we're going to have a lot more this year. They have been all virtual this year, but they're getting greater and greater attendance. And Albert will talk to you about some of those in a little bit. But we have workshops. We have so these could be our clients or other people that are interested that come to different workshops, like social media, like marketing, HR. One of the questions that was being posed earlier by Susana was, do I have a contractor or do I have an employee? So these are types of questions that are reviewed in some of these presentations. And then at the end, as we're working with small businesses, of course, we're tracking who started a business, who expanded a business, how many jobs were created. All of that information is captured for the purposes of our state. And that's why we're able to share. And you can see in the black there in the different slides, just to show that comparatively speaking, those small businesses that work with an SBDC tend to have higher sales a year, higher growth, and more employment growth throughout a year. And again, this is comparatively because we take sets of businesses in Texas. And so that's just to show there is that impact, both from the small business and, of course, the working with the Small Business Development Center. Next slide, please. And so, Jen, let me share with you about the services of the Small Business Development Center. So there's 2 major types of support. The core, the main one where advisors spend the majority of the time, is the business advising. This is one-to-one sessions with you, whether you're starting off, exploring, or have an existing business and have questions, or want to work through your planning, want to work on a business plan, want to work on your projections, different things like that. You are working with the advisor. Again, it is at no cost to you. It is one-to-one, unless, if it's a partner, you want to bring a family member with you, that is up to you. But on our side, completely confidential. We will not share any information with anybody outside our center. And whatever statistics we do provide to the federal government or to the state, or even within our university, they get summary information. They get to see the snapshot that I showed you, how many businesses started, how many businesses expanded, jobs that were created. We do from time to time create success stories, and that is to promote our services, to promote our small business owners. But for that, we get permission first, and then you tell us, okay, and then we create the success story, and then we share it. Other than that, all of the information is completely confidential unless you give us permission to share or want us to share it for some reason. And then the other, which is complementary to our advising, and that is the business training. So we're having a lot of business trainings on a variety of topics, as you can see down the list. We've added some new ones during that pandemic. We are right now working 100% virtually, both in advising and training, because of the pandemic, and then because our business was, our building was affected by the hurricane back in the summer, Hannah. And so the remodeling is very close to finishing. So we continue working virtually, and I'd say people understood, people have responded very well. And so we have regular workshops every week, and the advisors are able to meet with our clients via Zoom with the platform, again, confidential, and or phone calls, right? So we understand there's some technology access issues in some areas, or sometimes you're on the go, you're on your phone. And so we accommodate to that in this fairly fluid and evolving environment. There are some constants, and that is, of course, we want to have that quality for you. We continue to have that confidentiality that is never suspended for any reason. And of course, that customer service, right? We're about the customer service. And so and we'll share towards the end of the presentation here how you can get in contact with us, and our customer support staff is available and reach us out. I know when, and it's not, I know that it is not just because it's me, but when I get somebody reaches out to me and says, a partner says, we have this individual, they need this help, can you help them? I just connect right away with our customer service folks, and right away they make contact, and before the next day or the next day, they already have them registered and ready to go with an appointment with one of our advisors, so they can meet, as they coordinate their times. We can go on to the next slide. So that was general services, and so there's something that we implemented throughout, and this has been going on, of course, since late March, with when we had to shelter in place, et cetera, go pretty much 100% virtual. So we got some additional funding from through the CARES Act, and so we were able to hire. Albert came on board, and Mr. J.D. Garza came on board. And so we created this kind of program within a program, and I'll ask Albert to step in and talk to you about it as he's been working on it along with Mr. Garza, and he can share on this program and how you can get access to the support. Albert?
Yes, thank you, Maria. And thank you for the introduction earlier. Like I mentioned, my name is Albert Capistran. I'm one of the business advisors at the Small Business Development Center. And yes, we were brought on with the CARES Act. Prior experience, I have over 10 years of banking and marketing coordinator. Aside from that, the other advisors at SBDC are I'm just blown away by extremely knowledgeable people that are around us. And so with this COVID-19 response and support that SBDC has been able to put together is really an awesome package for small businesses within the Rio Grande Valley or anywhere, of course. But as you see on the screen, we do have identifying financing sources. So we were able to guide you through what the process would be if you are looking to finance for a new business, a startup, or expanding. But there's a lot of questions that you may not understand, or you may not be familiar with, and that's where we step in and we try to help you and guide you through that process. Also, financial projections and analysis. That's something that's looked at when you are applying for a loan, or especially if you're creating a new project. And there's so many things that come up when starting a new business that we didn't even think about it at the beginning. And so financial projections just help in so many ways as far as being prepared for requesting financing, or even just for personal use. You're able to calculate what you're going to need to get started and get going. Now, business planning, recovery, and continuity. These are part of an emergency type of plan. So if you are looking to, I know a lot of us think we're going to run our businesses forever and we're just going to run it until the day I die or whatnot. But sometimes we don't think of that emergency plan or that succession plan even. Who would take it over, or what is my business worth? And so that's part of what we take a look at when it comes to business planning. Recovery, meaning if there's an emergency that happened, how fast can we get back on track? And that's really what happened during this last year. A lot of us got a quick kick, right? And so it's like, how do we jump back from that? And those are some of the things that we discuss during the trainings from our center. Expansion and growth planning. So once again, if you're planning on growing or expanding, there's a lot of these things that kind of go hand in hand. Now, I know I mentioned these trainings, right? So the trainings are what we've been doing right now, and it's most of them have been via Zoom. And so from the comfort of your home or from the comfort of your office, you can log in and you actually have this one-on-one conversation with a presenter. You know, the presenter will be giving the information on, say, human resources. I know that was brought up a little earlier. Human resources kind of conducting this presentation. And if there's something that was specific to you or something that you had a question, you can always type it in the chat, and we are happy to communicate and kind of interact with each other during those trainings.
I'm sorry, Ms. Claudia, can we go to the next slide so they can see specifics?
Yes, and I know one we recently had was the social media, and social media, that's kind of a big thing right now. Everybody's been going online. Sales have been online. It's just a growing market. And so we did have a series on social media. So that was something that came up. But from these different aspects, we have HR, we have social media, we've had leadership and management skills. I mean, a lot of times we think, okay, well, what do I need for my business? Well, how do we flip it around and think, well, what do I need for myself for personal growth to be able to manage this business? And so we have a mentorship program and the training support, right? And so I've kind of touched base on what the training support is, right? The training of branding, e-commerce, sales growth strategies. There's a lot of these topics that we cover, but not only once you attend a training, the magnificent part of it is that we actually have mentors that can do a one-on-one session with you. So if you were to find something that came of interest to you, or you needed a little more one-on-one help, say it was social media and you're trying to get started with something, or kind of a marketing plan or something of that sort, we have a mentor specifically for that will get with you and your business and create a plan. So that way you have something more structured. It's measured in a sense to where, okay, like, did this work for me? And it's tailored to you. So that's what's excellent about the mentorship program. So after attending these trainings, if an individual is interested, they can either meet with an advisor for a one-on-one confidential session, and then we can complete a sort of assessment to refer them over to our mentors, which our mentors are actually business individuals in our community that are working hand in hand with SBDC, and they are professionals in these different industries. So whether it be sales strategies, or social media, business continuity, we have all that. So next slide, please. And so the training calendar for upcoming workshops. Great segue into it is well, what's coming up, right? And so this is actually just a quick snapshot of our trainings that are coming up. And so similar to this live session that we're having today, you're able to log in and do the same thing. You're able to chat with us. You're able to learn about the different different resources that we have. So for instance, we have Smart Start on here. Smart Start is really getting started. What do you need? We have something simply like broken down, 7 steps to starting your business. And so have you check these off, and we can go into depth on those things with you. We have capacity management, which is part of an operations system. So if you have like an industry chain, if you have a product, that's part of what we discuss in that section. Business branding strategies. So do you know what branding is, and how have you branded your business? Or do you feel that you need to rebrand what your business is? And so there's certain aspects that go into that, even when it deals with colors and psychology and things like that. There's a lot of interesting things that I actually really like that go into branding. And then introduction to employee handbook. So this is something important, very important when you have employees. So you want to set down the policies, procedures, you want to set down the rules. And so that's part of the handbook, getting started with that. And we have one advisor that you can speak to that is an excellent resource for human resources. So like I said, we work with a bunch of intelligent people, and so and we do have a specialist on human resources. We have inventory management, goes along with the operations of a business and products. We do have understanding social media platforms 2021. So 2021, understanding social media platforms 2021, right? So there's a lot that's been growing on social media platforms. We've seen the rise of TikTok. That's a new thing that's going on, and Facebook and Instagram, these things that are still strong, but really understanding the different platforms, really what suits your business. And so that's that one. Payroll compliance. Setting up payroll, sometimes that can be a difficult task, and when it comes to separating taxes and all that stuff, payroll is a very good session that we have. Payment, credit card, industry data security standards and compliance. Another one that talks about security of credit cards and payment systems. These are all part of a business that's essential, correct? And then leadership from competency approach. Really, leadership, like management, these things go hand in hand. And some of these are actually series. So they, and I'm sorry, Maria, if you were going to cut in, but just to say real quick, I mean, some of these are actually series that they go one by one. So our social media one led us through from understanding social media to the next one I believe that's coming up is actually the data behind social media. So what does that mean? It's like there's a lot of analytics that you can get, a lot of information that maybe we don't know what we can retrieve from that would be essential for your business, understanding who your customer is, things like that you can get from the analytics. And such as the leadership one, it was a series also, and we're going to be repeating that one. Actually, that one will be in Spanish, the next one that's coming up. So if you know of anybody that's interested in Spanish sessions, we do have those also. So, and that's part of our training workshops. If you want to add something, Maria.
And right, so I was just going to say, and so these have been developing. So we started with one session per topic, and as we get a response, and we're working with our mentors who are also our trainers, then they have developed. So some of these are now 4 parts, 3-part, and so you get a little bit deeper into the conversation. And then, of course, in addition to this, as Albert mentioned, you're able to work with one of the mentors to get specific into as it applies to your business. So I want to share this slide because it's an example of the calendar. So this is actually a piece of a broader calendar that goes out via our constant contact through our marketing training coordinator, Esperanza. And so she sends it out via constant contact every month. You could also access it at our website, or you can call Albert, you can call me, you can call one of our folks at the office, and we'll be happy to email it to you. So our May calendar is about to come out tomorrow, Monday the latest. And so every month we have a set of workshops. And so as you saw here, and these are not every month, they're not the same ones. There's different ones every month. So you're able to continue. So if you are interested in social media, you can then look forward to next month, what's coming up in social media next month and the next month. And so this is how we've been, and in addition to these, there's other topics that were on the previous slide. So you can see there's a variety. And normally we would say we have these across the valley. Right now, because we are doing it through Zoom, they're offered at the same time across the valley and actually beyond. So anyone can access these. So if we go to the next slide, we can share how you can access our services through our Small Business Development Center at UTRGV. And so it's very, very easy. You can call us. The easiest way is call us at 956-665-7535. After that, and then you can just let us know if you want to go to training, if you want to see an advisor. We will share a link with you. This is the long version. When we email it to you, it's a small link. You click on it, you go in, you register as our client. So as I mentioned, we're very data driven. So we register you as our client, and we just ask, your name, email information, etc., where you are in your stage of development for your business. And then we move on to set up for an appointment. If you want to just go to training, or in addition to advising, you want to go to training, we send you the same link. You get access to the same link, and you register for any of the workshops. And in addition to the workshops, if you don't see one that you like, you can register for one of the workshops of our centers that are available across the, as I mentioned, we're part of a larger network. We're all in the same system. So you can register for any of the workshops. I myself have registered for for our own workshops and for workshops that are offered from some of our other centers. So that has been a great positive. I mean, you got to look, for the positive, right? So throughout the pandemic, that was one of the benefits that normally all of our centers, the majority of the sessions we were on site. And so it was like, I can't drive to Victoria or Austin every time I see a workshop that I like, but because they are on mostly the same platform that we are, Zoom, then we're able to just participate in a variety of workshops. So it's great access. It's great resources for that continuous learning, as was mentioned, for self, for business, and that continuous professional development. If somebody is considering starting a business, it is never too early to start. It's always a good time to start checking your options, exploring, planning. And so for those individuals that have never had a business and have not worked as in a managerial position of business, we highly, highly recommend the Smart Start session that Albert mentioned earlier. It is just a it's a presentation, but it can be kind of like a conversation with one of our advisors who presents the material. And it's really just covering, so how do you get started, right? From figuring out, what kind of business do I want to start, to, what are my financing options, and how much do I need to put together for this project, and then following through with the actual steps of starting the business. And so that's a great workshop that I recommend for anybody that is exploring. And then, of course, any of the other workshops for anyone at any stage of development of your business. And so if we go to the next slide, then we'll give you additional contact information. So you can reach us, as I mentioned, at our number. But before, I forgot I had this one, but definitely very important. So co-located in our same building, and this is our building. It's off of Freddy Gonzalez, the expressway on Freddy Gonzalez. It's a UTRGV building that is new and improved after the remodeling is completed. We have two other business centers related to ours in the same location, as well as other centers across the university that are also there to support you in your endeavors. So just a quick word so our centers are the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. That is for anyone who has an existing business, at least 2 years or even before you can start planning, and you want to grow your business through becoming a vendor and basically doing business with the federal, state, or local government. Our PTech is there to support you and help you through that process. And our Veterans Business Outreach Center, as the name implies, very focused on veterans, a lot of outreach, a lot of training and advising as well for our veterans across about half the state, up all through Austin, Houston, and then all the way across, and of course, serving our Rio Grande Valley. And we're all part of the university, and we all our staff are there to support you in your endeavors. And then the next slide for sure is our direct information. So we have our telephone number. You can also email us at spdc@utrgv.edu. The eCenter link is right there. And of course, definitely follow us. You may, if you don't need to visit us right now or don't want to, that is great. Just moving forward, right? And so we do, our training coordinator, Esperanza, is always up to date on what's coming out with different programs, any deadlines that are coming up for the loans, for example, that came out from the SBA through the pandemic. So any of this information, she is constantly sharing it through our Facebook and Twitter. So follow us there, get up-to-date information. Through these sites, we also promote the upcoming workshops. The calendar is also shared through there, so you can always click and get it from there. And then, of course, if you want further information on our center, you can call us. We can talk to you about the program, or you can go to our website there at utrgv.edu/SBDC and just get information on our program. With that, I think that concludes our presentation. I just will say that we are there to provide service to our small business community. So if you need our help, feel free to reach out to us, ask us a question, set up an appointment, come virtually to one of our workshops, and we look forward to visiting with you here in the near future, or even in the later future.
Thank you, Maria and Albert and Susana, for sharing resources, programs, services, and information to our audience. I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this program, Small Business Development Post-COVID Opportunities. And I'd like to thank all the audience for watching. You can continue watching our virtual program at facebook.com/MPL Adults. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.